Father Huang was so angry that the veins on his forehead were throbbing. Huang Xiaoyan, what about your upbringing? Huang Xiaoyan sneered. Have you ever cared about me? My lack of upbringing is also because you have never spent your time on me. As for Jiang Wangya, you trust her. Whatever she says goes. As for your daughter, have you ever cared about her? Have you ever trusted her? Huang Xiaoyan said everything that she had been hiding in her heart for a long time. I've been busy working to create the best living conditions for you. Father Huang thought that he had already treated Huang Xiaoyan well enough, but he had never thought that what Huang Xiaoyan needed was his company. And your mother, thinking of Huang Xiaoyan's reaction just now, Father Huang changed his words. Your Aunt Jiang is the same. She buys everything for you and takes care of your daily life. Even if you don't want to call her mother, you should still respect her. Huang Xiaoyan's tears continued to drip down her cheeks. Dad, I don't care about the things you gave me. And Jiang Wangya, if you want me to call her mother and treat her well, it will never happen. You. Father Huang was really angry and a little lost. When she was young, Huang Xiaoyan was very obedient and sensible. When Jiang Wangya first came in, Huang Xiaoyan was also very obedient and didn't resist. Since some time ago, Huang Xiaoyan had always been against Jiang Wangya and did not put her father in her eyes. Her grades had also been dropping. Father Huang had a headache. He still needed to be busy with work, so he left Huang Xiaoyan to Jiang Wangya to manage. Under Father Huang's management, the Huang family's company became stronger and stronger, and they had a place in H City. The company was bigger, and there were more things to manage. Father Huang stayed in the company all day and rarely spent time on Huang Xiaoyan. Now, Huang Xiaoyan was becoming more and more hostile towards them. Father Huang did not know which mistake he made that caused Huang Xiaoyan to become like this. After Huang Xiaoyan finished speaking, her eyes turned red as she looked at Father Huang. The hope in her eyes gradually disappeared. She clenched her fists, turned around, and ran back to her room. Father Huang sighed and sat weakly on the sofa. Jiang Wangya stood behind him and massaged his temples. She advised, Brother Xing, don't be angry and damage your body. Xiaoyan is still young and old. She will understand your painstaking efforts. Father Huang closed his eyes. Hearing this, he opened them and waved his hand. I'm not angry with her. I'm just blaming myself for not managing her well. Her food and clothes are the best. Aren't you working outside every day for Xiaoyan? Brother Xing, you've already done a good job as a father, Jiang Wangya said in a very understanding manner. Sigh. Father Huang sighed. It's a pity that Xiaoyan doesn't understand. Upstairs, Huang Xiaoyan closed the door. Her room was very large, and the interior was exquisitely decorated. This was all arranged for her by Jiang Wangya. She tried her best to pretend to be very good to Huang Xiaoyan, confusing Father Huang. Jiang Wangya used to be Father Huang's secretary. Mother Huang died in a car accident, and Father Huang was busy with work. Jiang Wangya also treated Huang Xiaoyan very well, so Father Huang and Jiang Wangya got married, and she took care of Huang Xiaoyan. Father Huang observed Jiang Wangya for a long time and found that she was very attentive to Huang Xiaoyan. Huang Xiaoyan's requests would be met, and he was completely relieved. However, Father Huang forgot that there was a different kind of harm. Jiang Wangya gave Huang Xiaoyan the best of everything. After she came back from school, she was not allowed to study. Huang Xiaoyan was in a state where no one taught her. When she was young, she did not have the willpower. Her results fell and fell again, and later, she failed. After a long time, Jiang Wangya didn't hide her thoughts anymore. Only then did Huang Xiaoyan realize that Jiang Wangya wasn't really treating her well. She wanted to take away Mother Huang's things. Huang Xiaoyan also didn't really like Jiang Wangya. It was only for Father Huang's sake that she behaved very obediently. However, the more obedient she was, the less Father Huang would spend time with her. As a result, Huang Xiaoyan became very rebellious, and her grades became worse and worse. She often went against Jiang Wangya in front of Father Huang. Jiang Wangya acted very understandingly. Father Huang's heart gradually leaned toward Jiang Wangya, and he trusted Jiang Wangya very much. Father and daughter became more and more distant, and they often went against each other. Father Huang often praised Qin Shiru. When Huang Xiaoyan was young, her grades were good, but she had never received a word of praise from Father Huang. Huang Xiaoyan thought that Father Huang did not love her. At this moment, Huang Xiaoyan returned to her room. She lay on the table and cried, tears streaming down her face. Fei Long Film. The box office of Wind and Cloud Records once again hit a new low. The box office of yesterday was less than 8 million, which was not enough to cover the expenses of the movie theaters. As for Floating Cloud Atlas, it broke the domestic record of a single day that had been maintained for several years. In one day, it earned 400 million at the box office. If not for the limited space, the figure would have been even higher. The managers of the cinemas under Fei Long Film had all requested for the screening of Floating Cloud Atlas. Now that Floating Cloud Atlas was only being screened at Feng Entertainment, many people went there to watch it. There were very few people at the cinemas of Fei Long Film, and the ticket sales staff spent almost all day playing with their phones. If they allowed it to develop, Fei Long Film would be greatly weakened. Not only would they put a lot of money into it, but they would also lose a lot of customers, which would seriously affect the future. These days, the stock price had dropped by a few points every day. Li Yongnian was in a terrible state. He still tried his best to promote Wind and Cloud Records. He had already spent hundreds of millions on the promotion fees. The total box office earnings of Wind and Cloud Records were not much, let alone giving 80% of the profits to Ting Yunlong. This time, Fei Long Film suffered a complete loss. Facing the request of the movie theater manager, Li Yongnian was still unwilling to give in. The other directors could no longer sit still. The stock price had plummeted, and the movie theater's income could not make ends meet. What they lost were their interests. When the chairman of the board of directors was called to vote, other than Li Yongnian, everyone raised their hands and agreed to the release of Floating Cloud Atlas. Under pressure, Li Yongnian could only lower his head and send someone to approach Chong Ping. Director Chong, if Floating Cloud Atlas is released in our movie theater, I will give you the highest production rate. Your movie's box office earnings will definitely double. The staff member who came to approach Chong Ping directly threw out the bait. This was something that would benefit Chong Ping in every way. They were confident that Chong Ping would definitely agree to it. However, Chong Ping was not a person who would go back on his word. Not to mention that he had a contract. Even if he did not, he would not go against his promise to Feng Shuo for the sake of profit. He immediately rejected it. The staff tried to persuade him, but Chong Ping did not agree. The staff frowned. I'm sorry, I'll make a call first. He reported the situation to Li Yongnian. Li Yongnian snarat. He's just being difficult. Tell him that we'll give him 60% of the box office earnings. If he doesn't agree, we'll give up. From Li Yongnian's point of view, Chong Ping had the upper hand. He rejected it again and again, pretending that he did not care. He just wanted to fight for as much profit as possible for himself. If he was given enough benefits, he would naturally agree. 60% of the profits was not a small amount. For a blockbuster movie like Floating Cloud Atlas, it was worth hundreds of millions. The staff member nodded, turned off his cell phone, and returned to his room to sit down to negotiate with Chong Ping. Director Chong, look, we will give you 60% of the profits. If you agree, we will cooperate. This is already our biggest concession. The staff member tried his best to lower his stance and try to persuade him nicely. Chong Ping did not hide it anymore. Please go back. I will not agree. Moreover, I have already signed a contract with Feng Entertainment. It will only be shown in his cinemas. The staff member's heart sank. He knew that there was no hope left. With a cold expression, he took the documents and returned to Fei Long Film. After hearing what Chong Ping said, Li Yongnian kicked the desk in front of him. This Feng Shuo is really sinister and cunning. Chairman, what should we do now? Li Yongnian lit a cigaretta. He usually liked to smoke, but he usually kept it at around 5 cigarettes. Now, he had to smoke 2 boxes of cigarettes every day. He waved his hand. Go out. Li Yongnian put the cigarette to his lips and took a deep breath before spitting it out again. Soon, the entire office was filled with the pungent smell of smoke. Feng Shuo. These two words were practically squeezed out through the gaps between his teeth. Feng Entertainment had been established before and had occupied half of the movie theater's territory since a long time ago. Li Yongnian had relied on suppressing his opponents to develop Fei Long Film. Li Yongnian was naturally unwilling to let Feng Entertainment take over a portion of the market. He had long suppressed Feng Entertainment in the open and in the dark. Seeing that he was about to succeed, he did not expect that at this juncture, a blockbuster floating cloud atlas would appear. Looking at the current situation, it was not a problem for Feng Shuo to make a few billion with this movie. Feng Entertainment could also turn the tables. 2 years of hard work had gone down the drain. His own company had also suffered a heavy blow. How could Chong Ping, a small newcomer director, make such a movie? And Feng Shuo, where did he get the promotional methods? It couldn't have been his own idea. If he had such methods, how could Feng Entertainment have fallen into crisis, even to the point of bankruptcy? Li Yongnian could not understand. How could Feng Shuo have the chance to turn things around? Which step had gone wrong? Li Yongnian's hand holding the cigarette trembled slightly. All these years, Long Fei Film had been suppressing Feng Entertainment. Feng Shuo had always been a vengeful person, but at that time, he had no time to care about Fei Long Film. Now, Feng Entertainment was at its peak, while Fei Long Film had suffered heavy losses. Once Feng Shuo took revenge on Fei Long Film. Li Yongnian's fingertip was burned by a cigarette butt, and his mood became even more agitated. He regretted listening to that person and not releasing Floating Cloud Atlas. But there were no ifs in life. Li Yongnian pressed the cigarette butt into the ashtray in frustration. Sitting on the chair, he kept thinking of ways to deal with it. The H-City Painting Association had already stopped receiving manuscripts and started the selection of paintings. There were nearly 2,000 works participating in the selection. The H-City Painting Association attached great importance to the youth painting competition. The youth painting competition was a competition at the highest level for young students. If one obtained a better ranking in the youth painting competition, not only would they receive a large sum of money from the association, but it would also increase the reputation of the association. The works participating in the selection were first screened by the members of the association, and 100 were selected. After that, the president of the association would make the final decision. They judged very quickly. In less than an hour, they had looked at nearly 200 works. On the next day, they had basically finished judging. The president of the association, Wu Chong, walked over and asked, "How many more are there?" The association member looked at the painting on the table and replied, "There are about 60 more." Wu Chong nodded. "All right, you guys continue with your work." Wu Chong picked up a piece of work that had been eliminated and started to judge it. A few seconds later, he frowned slightly and casually put it back to its original position. He picked up another piece and just like that, he read over 10 pieces of work. When he picked up another one, his casual gaze paused for a moment, and then his gaze froze on the painting. He was overwhelmed with emotions. This was the first time he saw someone who could bring sadness to the extreme in a painting. As soon as he opened it, he felt a strong sense of sadness coming from the painting. Especially the painting in the painting. The pair of eyes drawn by the female lead in the painting seemed to have all the sadness and regret in the world gathered in this pair of eyes. When the association member saw that Wu Chong's expression was a little strange, he came over and asked, "President, is there a problem? Is this an eliminated painting?" "Yes." He nodded. He had an impression of this painting. At the first glance, he had thrown it away. It was too monotonous, so it was probably not a good painting. However, when he saw Wu Chong's grave expression, he asked nervously, "President, is there a problem?" L. Wu Chong handed the painting to him. "Take a good look." The association member took it and could not help but doubt in his heart. Could it be that this rather monotonous painting caught the president's eye in some way? He looked at it seriously. A minute later, his entire body trembled. He raised his head and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, President. I misjudged it." If Wu Chong had not come today, this painting would have been eliminated and a painting genius would have been buried. If they were to use this painting to participate in the competition, the chances of winning would be very high. Wu Chong did not blame him. Unless one was highly skilled in painting, one would not be able to tell that this painting was good at first glance. Even he had to spend 10 seconds to treat it seriously. He looked at the eliminated paintings and instructed, "Look at it again. There's no need to rush so as not to miss anything." The members of the painting association also had the same plan. At this moment, Wu Chong gave the order and he nodded. "All right." Wu Chong did not leave the painting behind. He took it back to his office. He could not put it down. He looked at it carefully, and the more he looked at it, the more he liked it. Wu Chong's gaze fell on the name. Sheng? A name that he had never heard of before. If it was not for the youth painting competition, he would have really suspected which master's painting it was. There was nothing wrong with this painting in terms of technique and foundation. The most important thing was the expression of the emotions in the painting. Looking at this painting, he felt a strong sense of grief. At the same time, a small ray of sunlight shone in from the outside, giving it hope. This was the first time he had seen such a strong expression of emotions. Wu Chuang had an impulse to see this Sheng immediately. He had to win such a talent over to the association. Wu Chong's paintings were also very famous in the country. One of them could be sold for tens of millions. However, he had never been pretentious. He was also a person who loved talents. When he saw this painting, he immediately wanted to meet Sheng. Wu Chong put down the painting and wrote on his notebook, "Sheng's painting, regret." At noon, Qin Sheng went out for a trip and did not rest in the dormitory. When she returned, she happened to bump into Su Yishuo. He walked very quickly and was covered in sweat. When he saw Qin Sheng, his footsteps paused. "Qin Sheng, congratulations. You did very well in the exam this time." Su Yishuo was a genius and very hardworking. Since he was young, as long as he participated in the exam, he would always get first place. This was the first time he had met someone who surpassed him. He was not unsatisfied. He had never thought that he was the only one who could get first place. Su Yishuo was really happy for Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng also often heard about Su Yishuo from her classmates. She also knew that not only did he have to work to earn tuition fees, but he also had to take care of his grandmother who had cancer overnight. There were warm-hearted people in society who had donated money to him, and the school had also given him some help. Su Yishuo was a prideful person. In his heart, he was unwilling to accept other people's charity. But, after all, he was worried about his grandmother's illness, so he could only accept it. However, his tuition and living expenses were all earned by himself. All the money donated by society was spent on his grandmother. Now, he had almost spent all of it. In his previous life, before the college entrance examination, Su Yishuo's grandmother's illness became more and more serious and required surgery. Su Yishuo did not go to class again. Instead, he went to work to earn medical expenses. On the day before the college entrance examination, Su Yishuo had just collected the medical expenses and she immediately underwent surgery. Grandmother Su passed away on the same day. The next day, Su Yishuo did not participate in the college entrance examination. The next year, he participated and obtained the top scorer in the country. A smile appeared on Qin Sheng's face. "You're not too bad yourself." Su Yishuo looked at the time and nodded slightly. "Student Qin, I have something to attend to. I'll be leaving first." He was in a hurry and the doctor informed him to go to the hospital. Qin Sheng nodded and watched him leave. Qin Sheng returned to the classroom. The first class was Liang Hua's English class. Qin Sheng usually came to the classroom on time. She had just talked to Su Yishuo and was delayed for a while. Liang Hua had already come to the classroom. The first thing she looked at was Qin Sheng's position. There were only 2 books on the desk. There was no one there. Liang Hua frowned. "Where's Qin Sheng?" Huang Xiaoyan's palms were sweating nervously. Sheng, why aren't you back yet?" "It's over. Liang Hua is going to catch you." No one in the class answered. Liang Hua looked at Huang Xiaoyan. "Huang Xiaoyan, where did Qin Sheng go?" Huang Xiaoyan stood up. Sheng was delayed by something. "Li. Who?" Liang Hua sneered. "Does she have a leave of absence?" Liang Hua had been sullen several times because of Qin Sheng. She had been looking for Qin Sheng's faults, but she couldn't find them. In class, she was the one who wanted Qin Sheng to make a fool of herself. Now that she had found an opportunity to punish Qin Sheng, Liang Hua naturally would not let it go. Huang Xiaoyan lowered her head and did not answer. Liang Hua mocked, "A student who arrives late and leaves early, is that right? A student who does not look like a student." At this moment, Qin Sheng had already arrived at the classroom door. She called out to report. Liang Hua's cold gaze swept over Qin Sheng. She pointed at the clock on the wall. "Student Qin, you are already 5 minutes late." Qin Sheng stood at the classroom door. Her back was straight and her eyes were lowered. She was very quiet. Liang Hua continued to mock her. "Qin Sheng, don't think that you can sit firmly in first place just because you got first place. With your attitude, you're disrespectful and arrogant. Qin Sheng, you won't be so lucky next time." Liang Hua was unwilling to believe that Qin Sheng had such good results. Qin Sheng must have used some unknown method to solve those 5 questions perfectly. She had checked Qin Sheng's previous results. Qin Sheng had failed in junior high school and had just passed in high school. After coming to H City High School, Qin Sheng had surpassed Su Yishou and got first place? She couldn't believe that her results had improved by leaps and bounds. Liang Hua had been punished by the principal, so she naturally didn't dare to say that Qin Sheng had cheated in front of others. Qin Sheng stood obediently and didn't listen to any of Liang Hua's mocking words. Liang Hua sneered and continued, "Qin Sheng, it seems that you don't want to attend this class. Then you can stand outside the classroom." Girls were usually thin-skinned, and when they were punished to stand outside, many teachers passed by, and there were also students. The girls were usually so embarrassed that they wanted to bury their faces in the ground. If Qin Sheng did not want to stand outside, she had to beg her. Of course, even if Qin Sheng begged her, Liang Hua would not let Qin Sheng off. If she did not beg, then she would drag the class and let the other classes see Qin Sheng make a fool of herself. Liang Hua was already prepared, waiting for Qin Sheng to beg her. However, Qin Sheng lazily took a few steps back and came to the side of the corridor, leisurely looking at the scenery downstairs. When the people of class 4 saw Qin Sheng being punished to stand outside, they were extremely envious. Now, under the guidance of Qin Sheng, they slowly began to like learning, and they were able to listen to class very seriously. Liang Hua's class was an exception. Liang Hua basically read the textbook in class. It was dull and boring, and she also liked to seize the opportunity to scold the students of class 4. They hated Liang Hua, and they also hated Liang Hua's English class. In English class, they could be said to be passing days like years. This time, their English improved by 20 points, but that was because they had worked hard to learn it, and it had nothing to do with Liang Hua. When Lin Feng saw Qin Sheng leave, he also wanted to leave. She was a girl. No matter how cold and arrogant she was, she would feel uncomfortable standing outside alone and being watched by others. He wanted to accompany her. With him around, Qin Sheng would not feel awkward. Of course, Lin Feng did not want to admit that he did not want to attend English class. Lin Feng stood up. "Teacher, as you can see, I was also late just now. If Qin Sheng wants to stand outside, there's no reason for me to stay in the classroom, right?" Liang Hua snorted. "Since you want to accompany her, you can go out too." "Okay." Lin Feng was happy. Just as he walked out of his seat, he pointed at his little brothers. He could not go out alone. Someone had to accompany him. Hence, Lin Feng said, "Teacher, they're with me." Those lackeys' eyes sparkled. Liang Hua couldn't tell that they were idiots for not wanting to attend class and finding an excuse. She couldn't help but get angry. She pointed at the door and berated, "All of you, get out." If they didn't want to attend class, what was at stake was their own future. It had nothing to do with her, so there was no need for her to beg them to attend class. There were 4 people, not including Qin Sheng, standing at the door of the classroom. Qin Sheng quietly looked at the scenery downstairs. Lin Feng was talking softly, and laughter could be heard from time to time. The people from class 4 looked out from time to time, and the envy in their eyes was very obvious. Bah! The English textbook was slammed heavily on the desk. Liang Hua's face was dark. "Are you all thinking of not attending the class?" Huang Xiaoyan also wanted to go out to accompany Qin Sheng. She raised her hand and stood up. Teacher, I was late too. With Huang Xiaoyan's raise of her hand, the other students also raised their hands and echoed, "Me too. Me too. Teacher, I was late too." With that, more than half of the students raised their hands. Only a few timid girls did not follow them out. Liang Hua's anger was completely provoked. She had rarely been wronged. Qin Sheng was the first one who dared to oppose her. What about now? The students of Class 4 did not want to attend her class. And they even dared to openly say that they wanted to stand outside? Don't think that she did not know that this group of inferior students of Class 4 did not want to attend her class. Saying that they were late was just an excuse. Liang Hua felt very disdainful in her heart. She was the class teacher of Class 1, she was the one who brought all the students who were going to take the exam to Imperial Capital University in the future. The students in Class 4 were all bad students, and they couldn't even reach the acceptance grade of a second-tier university. Even if Class 4 begged her, she wouldn't teach them anymore. Facing the students who stood up one by one and wanted to leave, Liang Hua laughed out of anger. It's the other way around, it's all the other way around. All of you from Class 4 are not listening to me, right? Good, very good. When the time comes, don't come begging me to teach you. After saying these words, Liang Hua left Class 4 without looking back. As soon as Liang Hua left, the classroom of Class 4 erupted with cheers. Liang Hua stopped in her tracks and became even angrier. No matter what, she would not teach Class 4 anymore. Who would be willing to take part in the muddy waters of Class 4? It had only been her who was willing. Teaching a poor class would affect performance. The results of Class 4 were the worst in the entire school. No teacher would be willing to take over. Liang Hua left the classroom and did not return to the office. Instead, she rushed straight to the Academic Affairs office. There was only one director of the Academic Affairs office today. When he saw Liang Hua, he looked around to make sure that there was no one around before he closed the door. He walked over, grabbed Liang Hua's shoulder, and said with a smile, "Baby, your face is so ugly. Did someone offend you?" "It's all because of those people from Class 4. Liang Hua's expression did not ease up. What happened? At the mention of Class 4, Cui Qingsheng could not help but frown. The people from Class 4 had caused a lot of trouble, but their family backgrounds were good, and they were well known in H City. He really looked down on the people from Class 4. It was only because of the school's respect for their parents that they were not dealt with. Liang Hua added fuel to the fire with what had happened today. Are those people students? Do they know what it means to respect the teacher and respect the Tao? You taught them wholeheartedly and they even openly went against you? Cui Qingsheng was not Liang Hua, after all, so he did not understand her feelings. He thought that it was not a big deal and that it would be fine as long as she endured it. After cursing for a while, he tried to persuade her, "Baby, you see, it will be fine as long as you endure it. You also know their family background. If we offend them, we won't get any benefits." "I don't care. I've endured for a semester. I don't want to endure any more." Liang Hua was very angry. "Qingsheng, you have to transfer me away from Class 4. As the English teacher of Class 4, I don't care who becomes their teacher." Cui Qingsheng was in a difficult position. Basically, there were no teachers willing to teach Class 4. It was still okay at the beginning of the semester. He could still adjust the teaching roles. However, he had already taught for a semester. If he changed without any reason, it would arouse the suspicion of others. Liang Hua saw Cui Qingsheng's hesitation and added fuel to the fire. Leaning against Cui Qingsheng's chest, she said ambiguously, "If you agree, tonight, we..." She leaned close to Cui Qingsheng's ear and whispered a few words. Cui Qingsheng's mind immediately became active. He agreed to Liang Hua's request. "You must remember to come over." Cui Qingsheng put his arm around Liang Hua's waist. When Liang Hua walked out of the dean's office, her face was very red. There was even a hint of love. Her face was obviously happy. Without her, the other teachers would not go to teach Class 4. Even if they went under pressure, they would not pay much attention to Class 4. In this way, Class 4's English would only be worse. When she returned to the office, she casually placed the English textbook on the table. She crossed her arms and looked at Teacher Lin, who was preparing the lesson, with a cold smile. Lin Ke, the students in your class are really good. They don't want to go to class and would rather stand outside. Teacher Lin didn't even raise her head. There was a huge commotion in the classroom, and there were a few students standing outside. Teacher Lin naturally noticed and roughly understood the situation. After Teacher Lin reprimanded the students, she didn't say anything else. To be honest, Liang Hua's teaching standards were poor, and she liked to slander Class 4. Teacher Lin also hated Liang Hua. Even if their grades weren't good, it wasn't a reason to insult them. This time, she supported them in her heart. Liang Hua continued with a sneer, Lin Ke, I can't teach your students anymore. In the future, I won't care about the English in your class. I think that they don't think much of me as an English teacher. Without a teacher to teach them, their English will be better. Teacher Lin closed her textbook. She had a class the next period, and the bell was already ringing. She stood up. Very good. After saying that, she brought her textbook and materials and left the office. Teacher Lin's face didn't change at all, and Liang Hua felt very uncomfortable. She sneered, you stubborn duck. The form teacher of Class 2 came over and said with a smile, Teacher Liang, congratulations. You finally don't have to teach Class 4 anymore. That's right, Teacher Liang. With your standard, it's really hard for you to take care of those poor students from Class 4, the teacher in charge of Class 3 added. Liang Hua raised her head slightly, her face full of arrogance. She ignored them and returned to her seat. The form teacher of Class 2's face stiffened. She lowered her head, her eyes full of disdain. If it wasn't for her connections, would she have been able to become the form teacher of Class 1? With her teaching level, if she didn't have any connections, would she have been able to enter H City High School? The teachers in H City High School were all of high standards. Basically, they all had master's degrees or above from famous universities, while Liang Hua was just an ordinary second-tier university student. She didn't work hard either. In school, she rarely prepared lessons. The lessons Liang Hua attended were dull and boring. Many students would doze off. On the surface, the teachers of H City High School respected Liang Hua very much, but behind her back, they all looked down on her. The form teacher of Class 3 was also grumbling unhappily. Why are you so arrogant? You despise Class 4, and the students of Class 4 don't despise you? A little fatty from Class 4 had a stomachache. When he came back from the toilet and passed by the office, he just happened to hear Liang Hua say that he would not teach Class 4. He was so happy that he ran away. He wanted to tell the entire class about this news so that they could all have a good time. He ran back to Class 4 in one breath. He was panting and very tired. He held onto the door frame and shouted excitedly, big news. Lin Feng was spinning the tip of his pen as he thought about a math problem. He had some ideas and was about to answer it when he was interrupted by the little fatty. All right, he had completely forgotten about it. Lin Feng glared at the little fatty. Damn fatty, why are you so noisy? Can't you see that we are studying seriously? With Qin Sheng leading the way, the students of Class 4 were basically racing against time to study. At this moment, the classroom had just started class when it became quiet. They were all lowering their heads and reading and doing the questions seriously. Qin Sheng was also reading a book. However, what she was reading was a stock analysis book. She had finished reading the high school textbooks and had done a lot of questions. She did not need to spend too much time on her studies. If she did not do anything in school, she would be bored again. Qin Sheng brought over a stock analysis book to read. The little fatty had also slowed down a little and his speech had become smoother. He smiled and the flesh on his face squeezed his eyes until only a thin line was left. Brother Feng, I have great news. Lin Feng was impatient. He felt that the little fatty was being very slow, so he waved his hand and said, if you have something to say it quickly. After saying that, he added, if you still don't say it, I'll beat you up. He waved his fist. The little fatty felt wronged. Didn't he just want to keep everyone's curiosity up and then give everyone an explosion? Was it a bomb? Why did Brother Feng have such a reaction? He did not dare to dawdle any longer. He raised his voice and said directly, I heard that old witch say that she won't teach us any more. Oh, Lin Feng replied coldly. The little fatty rubbed the back of his head, confused. Brother Feng's reaction was not quite right. Shouldn't he be shocked and screaming when he found out that the old witch had stopped teaching them? 3 seconds later, Lin Feng came to his senses. Putting down the pen, he dashed in front of the little fatty and grabbed his collar. Who are you talking about? Liang Hua, that old witch? Is she really not teaching us anymore? He asked 3 questions in a row. If it was true, Lin Feng felt that he could run 30 laps around the playground. The other students of Class 4 also heard it and were all pleasantly surprised. They all dreamed of Liang Hua leaving Class 4. Facing Liang Hua was too uncomfortable. The little fatty was happy in his heart. This was the reaction he wanted. He cleared his throat and wanted to answer. Cough, cough. Teacher Lin's cough came from the door. She looked at Lin Feng with an unfriendly gaze. Now, Lin Feng was grabbing the little fatty's collar and glaring at him. Teacher Lin thought that Lin Feng wanted to bully the little fatty. Seeing that it was Teacher Lin, Lin Feng obediently let go of the little fatty and returned to his seat. Throughout the entire class, even though it was Teacher Lin's mathematics class, the entire class was not in the mood to listen. As the little fatty sat, he could feel the gazes of the students in the class landing on him from time to time. It was as if they were blaming him for being slow-witted. Great, now that the teacher was here, they still had to wait for another 45 minutes. The bell rang for the end of class. Teacher Lin didn't like to drag the class. After class, she packed her things and left the classroom. Lin Feng and the others ran to the little fatty's side. In an instant, the little fatty was surrounded by people. Damn fatty, hurry up and say it. Being stared at by Lin Feng like this, the little fatty shrunk his neck and looked at his classmates who were looking at him unkindly. He felt extremely wronged and obediently said what he had heard. When I passed by the office during class last time, I heard that old witch say that she wouldn't care about our English anymore. Brother Feng, let me describe to you how she said this. The little fatty folded his arms across his chest and imitated Liang Hua's tone, narrating what she said vividly. While Lin Feng was angry, his fighting spirit was also aroused. He raised his voice and said very seriously, She doesn't want to teach us? It just so happens that we don't want her to teach us. Right now, she's just waiting to see our English grades drop and our college entrance exams fall miserably. Didn't she say that without her, our English scores would be even better? Then we'll fulfill her wish and anger her to death. We'll also win face for our sister Sheng. Qin Sheng. Why was she being dragged into this again? Right, we'll anger her to death and win face for sister Sheng. The others were the same. Their fighting spirit was aroused, and they did not feel that Lin Feng's words of winning face for Qin Sheng did not seem right. They were already led by Qin Sheng in the class. At first, they admired her strength and her personality, but later, they were completely convinced by her character and results. Qin Sheng rarely spoke in class, but she was born to be the center of the crowd, so her sense of presence would not be low. The students of Class 4 really thanked Qin Sheng. Without her, they would not have studied hard. After this parent-teacher conference, their parents did not punish them anymore. Instead, they gave them a lot of rewards. They felt the satisfaction of studying hard. Now, even without Qin Sheng's guidance, they would still study hard. Qin Sheng massaged the space between her eyebrows. She felt a headache coming on. I'm not that great. It's better not to win for my face. It's better to win for your own face. Lin Feng did not agree. Sister Sheng, don't be modest. You are the boss in our hearts. If our grades are good, won't we just be fighting for your face? The other students nodded repeatedly. That was it. Huang Xiaoyan was the same. She looked at Qin Sheng with starry eyes. Sheng, I'll fight for you too. Huang Xiaoyan could be considered to have found a reason for her to work hard. The temples on Qin Sheng's forehead were throbbing. It seemed that she could not persuade them anymore. She did not speak anymore. She could only let them be. Didn't you say that we have to race against time to study? Why are you still surrounding us? Lin Feng shouted. When the students of class 4 heard this, they all returned to their seats. They took out a textbook and read it very seriously. The news of Liang Hua not teaching class 4 spread very quickly. The students of class 1 also knew about it. They were all very envious. Liang Hua's teaching standards were very poor, and she liked to vent her anger on them. Ever since Liang Hua had apologized in front of the entire school for slandering Qin Sheng for cheating, Liang Hua's anger had been directed at them. They had been living in misery all this time, and they could not wait for Liang Hua to leave class 1. But they knew that the probability of that happening was very small. They could only stubbornly say, the people from class 4 actually angered the teacher and made her leave. With a new teacher in the second semester, their grades will definitely drop drastically. However, only they knew about the envy they had for class 4. Lu Ming also knew about this news. After he returned, he specially went to Fu Hanquan's villa. He sat on the sofa with his legs crossed and his hands resting on the back of his head. Lu Ming was negotiating terms with Fu Hanquan. "Brother, I know a big piece of news. It's related to sister-in-law. Do you want to know?" Fu Hanquan poured himself a cup of tea. When he heard this, his hand paused and he put down the teapot. "Speak." Lu Ming reached his hand out in front of Fu Hanquan, looking as if he would not speak if he did not give him any benefits. Fu Hanquan had never been stingy when it came to Qin Sheng. Dochka. He took out a car key and threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming grabbed the key and looked at it carefully. "Brother, is this the car you're driving now?" "It's new, the Audi 18. F***CK. Lu Ming almost fell off the sofa. He was really rich and willful. The Audi 18 was a top-notch car brand, and it was very popular. Moreover, there were only 15 of them in the world at present, each worth 60 million yuan. Lu Ming was like other boys, born to love cars. When the Audi 18 came out, he was already envious. After all, he knew that it was impossible for him to own this car. If his family could take out 60 million yuan, not to mention that his family would not buy it for him, even if they wanted to buy it for him, there were only 15 limited edition cars, so he could not snatch it. Therefore, Lu Ming did not dare to have extravagant hopes. He only dared to imagine. Now, his brother actually casually threw the car keys to him? Lu Ming held the car keys in his hands. He was extremely precious. When he was happy, he casually said, "Brother, so you also treat me as your closest younger brother." Fu Hanquan was expressionless. "I have two. These are superfluous." Lu Ming. He was indeed a rich and powerful person. Also, couldn't he just lie to him a little? Lu Ming knew that Fu Hanquan was very rich, but he didn't know what Fu Hanquan was doing. It was enough to know that he was very rich and that he could get a lot of good things from him. After getting a luxury car, Lu Ming didn't hide it anymore and told Fu Hanquan. "Brother, do you know Liang Hua? Liang Hua is sister-in-law's English teacher and also my form teacher. She often goes against sister-in-law. Didn't sister-in-law get first place last time? She even framed sister-in-law for cheating." "Slander Sheng Sheng for cheating?" Fu Hanquan's voice was cold as he looked at Lu Ming unkindly. Lu Ming shivered and quickly explained, "Brother, didn't I forget? And this matter has already been resolved. Sister-in-law has proven her innocence and even forced Liang Hua to apologize in front of the entire school." Seeing that Fu Hanquan's expression had eased up, Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. He continued, "Liang Hua is no longer teaching class 4. What's the reason? I've asked around. It's probably because sister-in-law was late and was punished to stand outside. The people in class 4 all wanted to go out and accompany sister-in-law. Liang Hua was so angry that she didn't even attend class and went to the administrative office to complain." Lu Ming was a gossipy person and had many connections. He had a rough idea of the reason why Liang Hua left class 4. Fu Hanquan picked up his tea and narrowed his eyes. "Liang Hua. Brother, class 4 is the worst class in our grade. Now that Liang Hua doesn't teach English, those teachers might decline to teach class 4. In this way, sister-in-law's class might not have any teachers to teach English in a short period of time." Lu Ming winked, afraid that Fu Hanquan, who had a low EQ, would not know what he meant. He then explained, "Brother, isn't your English very good? You can take advantage of this opportunity to become an English teacher in class 4. That way, you'll have a chance to spend more time with sister-in-law." This was a great opportunity to get close to sister-in-law. Don't miss it. He understood that his brother had not caught up with sister-in-law. The number of times they saw each other in a week could be counted on one hand. His brother had almost become an ascetic monk. Fu Hanchuan lowered his eyes. When he heard Lu Ming's last words, his eyes lit up. He put down the teacup and stood up. Before he left, he did not forget to take the car keys from Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming was anxious. "Brother, my car." Fu Hanchuan's lips curled up. "Lu Ming, you didn't tell me Xing Xing was slandered for cheating. I haven't settled the score with you yet." Lu Ming was stunned. He was in the wrong and didn't dare to argue with Fu Hanchuan. He could only stare at the car keys in Fu Hanchuan's hands. He cried in his heart, "You pig brain." Now, the car was gone. His precious car was gone. Fu Hanchuan returned to his room and gave Assistant Lin a call. "Look up Liang Hua from H City High School. I want her information." H City High School. Assistant Lin only needed to think for a moment before he understood. It seemed that Liang Hua had offended Qin Sheng. As for what he was looking for, it was just some dirt on Liang Hua. "Also, I want to enter H City High School as an English teacher for Year 3 Class 4. Make the arrangements," Fu Hanchuan instructed. Although H City High School had the name of H City, it was a private school. Coincidentally, the school board was his company's partner. It was not difficult for Fu Hanchuan to enter H City High School. Assistant Lin nodded and agreed. He was a little surprised and re-examined Qin Sheng's status. It seemed that Qin Sheng really held a lot of weight in Fu Hanchuan's heart. The next day, the administrative office issued a notice. Liang Hua was no longer the English teacher of Class 4. There would be a new teacher. Hearing this news, Liang Hua was a little stunned. That was not what she was thinking. She was no longer the English teacher of Class 4. Shouldn't other people be unwilling to be the teacher? How could they have found a new English teacher in less than a day? Liang Hua felt uncomfortable. She called the dean of the academic affairs office, Cui Qingyan. Cui Qingyan smiled and said, "This teacher is new. It was arranged by the higher-ups. I heard that he is a doctoral student at Imperial Capital University." Liang Hua's face was a little pale. Why would a top student from Imperial Capital University suddenly come to a small high school to be a teacher? "Liang Hua?" Cui Qingsheng frowned and called out when he didn't hear Liang Hua's reply for a long time. He was worried that others would find out about their improper relationship. To be safe, Cui Qingsheng would only call Liang Hua baby in private. "It's okay. I have to go to class. That's it." Liang Hua hung up the phone with a pale face. She had classes this period, but she was in a bad mood and did not go to class until the class committee of Class 1 came to look for her. In this period of class, she vented her anger on the students of Class 1 again. They lowered their heads and allowed Liang Hua to insult them. The hand holding the pen in their hands was constantly clenching, and their hearts were filled with resentment toward Liang Hua. She was just a small teacher. How could she insult them as she pleased? These few days, they had been scolded time and again by Liang Hua. It was difficult for them to concentrate on their studies. In the third year of high school, especially in the second semester, they had to race against time to study. Because of Liang Hua, she had wasted a lot of their study time. If this was the case, the next monthly exam would result in a decline in their grades. What they would get would probably be Liang Hua's ridicule and insults. The cycle would continue. If the college entrance exam was like this, what chance did they have to get into Imperial Capital University? To the third-year students, grades were very important. They had worked hard for more than 10 years just so that they could get into a good university after the college entrance exam. Liang Hua's actions had naturally attracted the resentment of many people towards her. Qin Shuru was the same. She had lost a lot of face to Liang Hua because of her poor grades this time. In class, Liang Hua was the first person to scold her. Qin Shuru was an existence that was held in high regard in school. At Liang Hua's place, she had embarrassed her in front of the entire class time and time again. Qin Shuru's face was lowered every time. She bit her lower lip hard. Liang Hua's mocking voice entered her ears. She could feel that the entire class was looking at her with a strange gaze. She was really unwilling. Wasn't it just one bad test? Did Liang Hua have to bring this up every day? Qin Shura clenched her fists tightly. Liang Hua vented her anger in Class 1. After saying that they would study for the rest of the time, she walked to the office. The teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 were discussing the new English teacher. By the way, how could a PhD student from Imperial Capital University take a fancy to a small high school like ours? Ha ha ha, that's funny. Liang Hua thought that if she left, no one would take over the English of Class 4. Who would have thought that a PhD student from Imperial Capital University would come? That's quite a slap in the face. I think those students from Class 4 are glad that Liang Hua isn't teaching them anymore. You know how bad Liang Hua's teaching is. It will delay the students. Class 1's English results were only 2 points higher than ours. Moreover, these results were obtained by the students themselves. Just by relying on Liang Hua? Class 2's form teacher sneered. I'm afraid that she can't even compare to the students in Class 4. Class 3's form teacher also felt indignant for Class 2's form teacher. She was very angry. Teacher Chen, your teaching standard is good and your ability to lead the class is also good. If it weren't for her backing, you would have become Class 1's form teacher long ago. The form teacher of Class 2 said mockingly, that's why. She has backing. The two of us usually have to support her. Lin Ke's family background is good, so there's no need for her to be afraid. However, we are all commoners. If she wants to kick us out of the school, it's very simple. They couldn't stand Liang Hua, but they didn't have much malice toward Lin Ke. However, they had been led by Liang Hua too many times. In addition, they had always been suppressed by Liang Hua, so they had treated Lin Ke as a way to vent their anger. When Liang Hua heard this from outside, she was so angry that her entire body trembled. They had always had to support her. When was it their turn to speak like this? Li Ban Li, Shen Qiu Shi. She pushed the door open and pointed at the two of them. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 stopped talking and looked at each other, their eyes filled with panic. Liang Hua sneered. It seems that the two of you are really different from each other on the surface. On the surface, you are supporting me with your stinky feet, but behind my back, it turns out that you are also those shameless gossips. The faces of the teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 flushed red. They had been trying to curry favor with Liang Hua all this while, but it was also in order to protect their jobs and to have a better life in school. Now that they were exposed by Liang Hua, they did not want to endure it anymore. The teacher of Class 2 sat up straight. She said coldly and mockingly, Liang Hua, since we've already fallen out, I won't hide it from you. I've hated you for a long time. If I wasn't worried that this job would be gone, I really wouldn't be supporting your stinky feet. In the future, I won't flatter you anymore. If you want to find someone to deal with me, then so be it. I really don't want to take this job anymore. The form teacher of Class 3 also said, Liang Hua, I'm the same as Wen Li. If you want to deal with us, then deal with us. Now that she had seen through it, they wouldn't compromise for this job anymore. They had already endured it for 2 years, and they didn't want to endure it anymore. Liang Hua's face was ashen, and she spoke without thinking. All of you just wait. I'll get Qingsheng to deal with all of you. Qingsheng? A name appeared in their minds. Cui Qingsheng, the head of the Academic Affairs Office. The head of the Academic Affairs Office had the ability to arrange for Liang Hua to be the form teacher in charge of Class 1. If the backer behind Liang Hua was Cui Qingsheng, then they would not have to worry about being fired. As the head of the Academic Affairs Office, Cui Qingsheng could make things difficult for them. As for firing them, he didn't have the ability to do so. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 heaved a sigh of relief. The form teacher of Class 2 asked Liang Hua, is the person you're talking about the head of the Academic Affairs Office, Cui Qingsheng? Only then did Liang Hua realize that she had let the cat out of the bag. When she heard what the form teacher of Class 2 said, she hurriedly denied, no. The form teacher of Class 2 could clearly see the panic in Liang Hua's eyes. She had already confirmed that this person was Cui Qingsheng. As far as she knew, this Cui Qingsheng had a wife and a 10-year-old daughter. It was interesting that Liang Hua was a mistress. The form teacher of Class 3 also had the same idea as the form teacher of Class 2. Her eyes rolled around. She smiled and said, Liang Hua, if you dare to let Teacher Cui make things difficult for us, we will tell Teacher Cui's wife and the entire school. At that time, I'm afraid that you and Teacher Cui will both be fired. The meaning in her words was very obvious. Liang Hua's face turned pale. Cui Qingsheng had warned her not to let others find out about their relationship. If they were found out, they would break up. At that time, it would really be over. Liang Hua panicked. She hurriedly denied it. Don't be so self-righteous. He is not my backer. Heh, you should know best. Class 3's form teacher sneered. If you dare to do anything to us, don't blame us. Wenli and I will keep our words. They no longer had to be afraid of Liang Hua in the future. Now, they had completely relaxed. Liang Hua clenched her fists and glared at them angrily. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 smiled. They were not afraid of her and returned to their seats. Liang Hua was so angry that she ran out of the office. Liang Hua could not understand. Why did it turn out like this? She had always been flattered by others, and she had never suffered so much. Everything seemed to have changed after Qinsheng came. Yes, it was Qinsheng. Qinsheng was an unlucky jinx. The only thing she regretted now was letting Qinsheng enter this school. Liang Hua used force and tore a test paper that the students had written. When Lin Ke returned, the form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 greeted her for the first time. There was no longer the usual sarcasm and sarcasm. Their attitude was very good. Teacher Lin is back. Teacher Lin, you're back quite early today. Teacher Lin was very sensitive to the outside world. This time, she did not sense their malice and frowned slightly. She did not know what they were planning. However, she was not a gossiper and was not interested in their motives. Teacher Lin nodded and sat back down. The form teacher of Class 3 asked, Teacher Lin, will the new teacher in your class come to class today? Our class has 2 English classes this afternoon. He will come over to attend. I think that after being taught by the top students of Imperial Capital University, your class's English results will be improved, the form teacher of Class 3 said with a smile. Teacher Lin had some doubts in her heart. It was already very rare for them not to come over and mock her. Now, they even came up to congratulate her? The class teacher of Class 3 glanced at Liang Hua and said very mockingly, some people just can't see clearly what kind of teaching level they have. Those who are taught by her are all very unlucky. She thinks that without her, Class 4's English will retreat. Isn't this a slap in the face? Another English teacher of Class 4 has come, and they're even a PhD student from Imperial Capital University. Chen Qiusher, this be *TCH. Liang Hua's face flushed red. She really wanted to go up and fight with her, but she had something she could use against her, so she didn't dare to. Teacher Lin. So, during the time that she wasn't around, what exactly happened? Liang Hua had always been the center of attention in the office. The class teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 were all circling around her. Now, they were mocking her instead? Liang Hua did not like to be wronged. When she was mocked, she would definitely not swallow her anger. But now that she was sitting on the chair, she did not dare to refute a single word? Teacher Lin frowned and adjusted her glasses. Her face was filled with confusion. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 now found Teacher Lin much more pleasing to the eye. They felt a little guilty for using the opportunity to mock Teacher Lin in the past. They had vented their anger on Teacher Lin. They did not deserve to be called teachers either. The form teacher of Class 2 said apologetically, Teacher Lin, I'm sorry. It was all our fault in the past. We won't mock you anymore in the future. The form teacher of Class 3 was also a little awkward. That's right, Teacher Lin. In the past, we were all blinded by lard. You didn't do anything to us. Instead, it was us who disliked you in all sorts of ways. Teacher Lin pushed up her glasses and only said, it's all in the past. Her tone was very casual. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 looked at each other and sighed. It seemed that Teacher Lin would not forgive them. That's right. Even they would not forgive someone who treated them as a punching bag. Liang Hua looked at this scene and clenched her fists angrily. The person who was surrounded in the middle was originally her. Now, she had become an isolated and hostile existence in the office. She hated it so much that she wanted to tear Qin Sheng apart. Without her, Liang Hua was still living very proudly. How could she still be mocked now? Class 4. The little fatty was the most well-informed, and he had also heard some news about the new English teacher in Class 4. It was now time for class. The little fatty poked his hand and said excitedly, "The girls in our class, you're really lucky." "What now? Damn fatty." Lin Feng twirled the pen in his hand and spoke impatiently. "Didn't I say yesterday that Liang Hua won't teach us anymore?" Lin Feng was energized and annoyed at the little fatty's dawdling. He frowned and said directly, "Cut the crap." "Oh." The little fatty felt wronged and could only speak out the matter simply. "The administrative office has already issued a notice. It has been confirmed that Liang Hua will no longer be our English teacher. Moreover, the new English teacher has also been confirmed." "Do you know who it is?" "Lin Feng, speak." "Little fatty. Wasn't he trying to let everyone guess and raise the atmosphere?" Little fatty could only say aggrievedly, "He is a PhD student from Imperial Capital University. Look, this is a slap in the face. Liang Hua also said that without her, our class's English results will drop. I think that with this new teacher leading the way, it will rise. Isn't this a joke? It would be better if she didn't go to heaven." Lin Feng still felt that the little fatty was dawdling. How could a grown man dawdle? "Lin Feng, get to the point." The little fatty cried out and continued, "I've also heard that he's very handsome and young. He's only in his 20s, so I say that the girls in our class are lucky." Lin Feng. He kicked the little fatty's butt. As expected, he was not a reliable person. Lin Feng, as a boy, naturally felt that what the little fatty said just now was completely unnecessary. However, most of the girls were excited and disgusted in low voices. Who did not like young and handsome male teachers? It was better to face a handsome man every day than an ugly freak. They were in a good mood. Even Huang Xiaoyan was in a good mood. She grabbed Qin Sheng's arm and said excitedly, "Sheng Sheng, a handsome guy. I saw a handsome guy at the parent-teacher conference, your brother. Now there's another one." She did not doubt the little fatty's words. The little fatty was a little unreliable, but the information he got was not wrong. Qin Sheng put down the stock analysis book in her hand and said in amusement, "Xiaoyan, are you a fan of looks?" "Of course." Huang Xiaoyan cupped her face. "Who doesn't love handsome guys?" Qin Sheng shook her head in amusement. The next class was Teacher Lin's class. As soon as class started, she announced that a new English teacher would be coming in the afternoon. The entire class erupted in cheers. Teacher Lin was also happy for them, but she didn't show it on her face. She had just received the name of the new teacher that the school had given her. Fu Anchuan. Teacher Lin felt that this name was very familiar, but she couldn't remember where she had seen it before. "The new teacher will be coming this afternoon. You can't anger him. He graduated from Imperial Capital University and is even a PhD student. With him around, you don't have to worry too much about your English." Teacher Lin was very serious. She was really worried about this bunch of brats from Class 4. The people they couldn't stand wouldn't give them a good look. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Don't worry, teacher. He didn't look down on us. He didn't embarrass us like Liang Hua did. We will definitely be obedient. It wasn't easy for a new English teacher to arrive. How can we chase him away?" The first class in the afternoon was English class. All the students of Class 4 were sitting upright in their seats. The girls' eyes were shining with excitement. The second bell for the class rang. A tall figure walked into the classroom. He held an English test paper and stood tall and straight. As soon as he entered, all the students of Class 4 were staring at him with their eyes fixed on him. When they saw his face clearly, their mouths were wide open and they were very surprised. Then, everyone's gaze fell on Qin Sheng. This new English teacher was Qin Sheng's brother? He graduated from Imperial Capital University and was a PhD student? Qin Sheng also looked at Fu Hanchuan in surprise. She did not expect Fu Hanchuan to come and be her English teacher. As soon as Fu Hanchuan entered, he looked at Qin Sheng. Seeing that the little girl was obediently sitting in her seat, Fu Hanchuan chuckled softly. This smile dazzled the girls in class 4 again. Even Lin Feng touched his face, feeling a little inferior. He thought that he was quite handsome, but now looking at Sister Sheng's brother, he instantly felt that he was nothing compared to him. Damn it, Sister Sheng and her brother were indeed a family. One was beautiful and the other was handsome. Were they going to let ordinary people like him live? Lin Feng looked at Fu Hanchuan with some hostility. When a man looked at a beautiful woman, he would be infatuated with her and worship her as a goddess. But when he looked at a man of the same sex, there was nothing that he couldn't stand. Huang Xiaoyan's mouth was wide open, and she didn't come back to her senses for a long time. She turned her head and complained, "Sheng Sheng, your brother came to be our English teacher, but you didn't tell me. You're not a good friend." Qin Sheng shook her head in puzzlement. "I don't know either." Huang Xiaoyan cupped her face and said enviously, "Sheng Sheng, he must have come for you. Your brother spoils you too much. I wish I had a brother too." "He came especially for her?" Qin Sheng's heart skipped a beat. Fu Hanchuan came to the podium and said simply, "My surname is Fu. You can call me Teacher Fu." Fu Hanchuan's gaze landed on Qin Sheng without any hesitation. "In my English class, Qin Sheng will be the English class representative from now on." The people from class 4 did not get along with Liang Hua, so no one was willing to be her class representative. The English test papers and homework collection were all done by the class monitor. Surnamed Fu? The people from class 4 were surprised. Wasn't his surname the same as Qin Sheng's? Huang Xiaoyan whispered, "Sheng Sheng, are you his cousin?" Before Qin Sheng could answer, Huang Xiaoyan mumbled to herself again, "It must be. Otherwise, how could your surnames be different?" After saying that, she turned her head and sat down very seriously. "Take out the test paper from the last practice," Fu Hanchuan said in fluent English. His voice was clear and melodious, with some magnetism in it. It was very pleasant to the ears. Fu Hanchuan did not need to use too many teaching techniques. The students of class 4 could not help but be immersed in their studies. The bell rang for the end of class. Fu Hanchuan closed the test paper and said class was over. He looked at Qin Sheng and said in a pampering voice, "Sheng Sheng, come with me to the office." Fu Hanchuan walked in front with Qin Sheng behind him. The students and teachers who passed by them all looked at them. A girl who had seen Fu Hanchuan at the parent-teacher conference said, "He's Qin Sheng's brother." "I know. He came to attend Qin Sheng's parent-teacher conference a few days ago. By the way, her brother is really good to her. It's already good enough that my brother doesn't beat me up." "Isn't the parent-teacher conference over now? Why is he here?" A thought came to her mind. A girl said in surprise, "Could he be the English teacher of class 4? I heard that there's a new English teacher in class 4. Looking at the English test paper in his hand, I'm a little suspicious." "How is that possible?" Her friend immediately denied it. Would a tall, rich, and handsome man be willing to be an English teacher in a small high school? The girl muttered, "Why is it impossible?" Fu Hanchuan came to the office and turned around. He looked at Qin Sheng with a faint smile. Qin Sheng was lowering her head, and her ears were slightly red. Her mind was filled with Huang Xiaoyan's words. Fu Hanchuan had come especially for her. Qin Sheng's heart was very warm, and it seemed as if something was taking root. At this moment, Fu Hanchuan stopped, and Qin Sheng did not notice. She continued to walk forward. She bumped into Fu Hanchuan, and her nose also bumped into his chest. "Sheng Sheng." At this moment, Qin Sheng was very close to Fu Hanchuan. When she heard this call, her face turned red. She quickly backed out. When was Qin Sheng not cold? It was the first time Fu Hanchuan saw her show a shy expression, and he couldn't help but laugh softly. Qin Sheng's face turned even redder when he laughed. Fu Hanchuan could not bear to tease her any more. His worried gaze landed on her nose, which was slightly red. "Does it hurt?" "Qin Sheng." She shook her head. "It's fine." Fu Hanchuan reached out to touch her nose, but Qin Sheng quickly covered her nose and took a step back. Fu Hanchuan laughed again. He looked away. If they talked about this again, his little girl would probably be anxious with him. Because Fu Hanchuan was specially instructed by the school director to be taken care of, the school did not dare to neglect him. According to the school director's instructions, they specially prepared an independent office for Fu Hanchuan. This office was very big and there were no other teachers. Fu Hanchuan pulled out a chair and sat down for Qin Sheng, then made her a cup of tea. Qin Sheng sat on the chair with a cup of warm tea in her hands. After hesitating for a while, she asked, "Brother Fu, why did you come to teach?" In her previous life, Fu Hanchuan did not come to H City High School to be an English teacher. Fu Hanchuan sat down next to Qin Sheng and rolled up his sleeves. Hearing this, the corners of his lips curled up. He looked at Qin Sheng and said seriously, "Because of you." Qin Sheng was stunned for a moment. Fu Hanchuan touched Qin Sheng's fluffy hair. "I don't want Sheng Sheng to be bullied by outsiders in school." Qin Sheng lowered her head and said very softly, "Thank you, Brother Fu." Her eyes were a little red. Qin Sheng's heart warmed up again. No matter how those people in this world treated her, Fu Hanchuan and Grandfather Lu were sincere and good to her. "What are you thanking me for?" Fu Hanchuan's lips curled into a warm smile. "Sheng Sheng, remember, you still have me. You don't have to bear the pain alone. Grandpa and I will help you solve it." "Okay." Qin Sheng's hand held the teacup tightly. The warmth of the teacup reached her heart. "Okay." Fu Hanchuan looked at his watch. It was time for class again. He stood up and said, "Sheng Sheng, let's go to the classroom together. I'll pick you up tonight." Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan returned to the classroom together. Lin Feng felt awkward in his heart, but Fu Hanchuan was Qin Sheng's brother. He had also promised teacher Lin that he would respect Fu Hanchuan and not cause any trouble. The entire class was very quiet. Everyone was engrossed in doing the questions. Qin Sheng returned to her seat and sat down. She picked up a pen and listened to the lecture seriously. The scene of her bumping into Fu Hanchuan appeared in her mind from time to time. Her face felt a little hot. It was the first time Qin Sheng had such a feeling. She frowned, not understanding why such a situation would occur. Qin Sheng was also a mentally strong person. She quickly adjusted her state and immersed herself in the lecture. Nibi. That night, after having a meal at Old Master Lu's house, Fu Hanchuan sent Qin Sheng back to the Qin family. Once Fu Hanchuan left, Lu Ming came over and gossiped, "Grandpa, do you know what Big Brother did today?" Old Master Lu rolled his eyes and ignored him. Lu Ming said, "Grandpa, Big Brother came to our school to be an English teacher, and he's also an English teacher in Class 4. Big Brother chased sister-in-law into the school. Isn't he awesome?" "What?" Old Master Lu exploded when he heard this. He felt very uncomfortable, as if his beautiful cabbage had been stolen by a stinky pig. He clearly wanted Fu Hanchuan to marry Qin Sheng back, but Lu Ming looked at Old Master Lu's unpleasant expression strangely and muttered, "Grandpa, don't you want sister-in-law to be your granddaughter-in-law?" Old Master Lu took a few deep breaths and calmed himself down. "I want him to marry Sheng Sheng back," Old Master Lu explained. "But look at how old Sheng Sheng is. She's not even an adult yet. Is it proper for her to be seducing a little girl like this?" "No," Old Master Lu muttered. He picked up the phone and was about to call Qin Sheng first. "I want Sheng Sheng to be vigilant. She can't be seduced so easily." "Don't, Grandpa," Lu Ming stopped Old Master Lu. "If you tell sister-in-law, she will stay away from him. Your granddaughter-in-law will fly away." Old Master Lu's hand, which had just picked up the phone, paused, and then he put it down again. He sat on the sofa with his head lowered, listless. "Sigh, just let a pig eat cabbage?" "Grandpa, I think sister-in-law is the kind of person with a very low EQ. She has always treated him as her brother." Speaking of this, Lu Ming was a little excited. He thought that Fu Hanchuan was someone who would simply hook his little finger and women would pounce on him. He did not expect there to be an exception. It just so happened that this exception was the woman his brother liked. Hearing this, Old Master Lu's eyes lit up. He was no longer worried that Qin Sheng would be seduced away. However, he was still a little dissatisfied. How is this brat so capable? He actually managed to woo her to school? He felt that if this continued, Fu Hanchuan's importance in Qin Sheng's heart would surpass his. Old Master Lu did not feel good. Lu Ming took out an apple. He did not peel it. He took a big bite and stuffed it full. He mumbled, "Oh right, Grandpa, there will be a list of people from H City participating in the youth painting competition tonight. Isn't sister-in-law participating? Aren't you going to check it out?" Old Master Lu patted his head. He was really old. How could he forget such a big thing? "Yes, it's out. Check it for me immediately." "Right away." Lu Ming obediently turned on his phone and started to check. He opened his mouth wide and didn't say a word for a long time. Old Master Lu's heart was in his mouth. Could it be that Sheng Sheng didn't make it? But it shouldn't be. Sheng Sheng's painting is even better than mine. Gotcha. Lu Ming took another bite of the apple and spoke very loudly. "What?" Old Master Lu. The veins on his forehead throbbed. He really shouldn't have believed in him. Old Master Lu glared at Lu Ming, grabbed the phone, and looked at it. Old Master Lu saw Sheng at first glance. The last time Qin Sheng gave Old Master Lu the painting, Old Master Lu saw the Sheng signature on the painting and naturally knew that it was her. Lu Ming was there that day, so he naturally knew that Qin Sheng was this Sheng. Old Master Lu looked back and forth a few times with his aged eyes. He laughed out loud, "Ha ha ha, I knew Sheng Sheng was good." Gotcha. Lu Ming took another bite of the apple and nodded. Qin Sheng was indeed very good. Her grades were good, she was beautiful, and she knew how to paint. She was a good match for his brother. She would marry his brother in the future. There was no running away from this. He had to cling on to his sister-in-law's thigh. He had to go to class to be closer to his sister-in-law. After all, he had the advantage. His brother took the Audi 18 back when he got it. It was really painful. Qin family. Lin Shuya cooked a big table of dishes in advance. The three of them ate at the dining table. Lin Shuya gave Qin Churu some of her favorite dishes. "Rower, after tonight, you are qualified to participate in the youth painting competition. Mom will celebrate it in advance for you." Qin Churu was Master Chiwencher's student. Chiwencher praised her talent in painting. Lin Shuya also saw Qin Churu's words in the competition. She drew very well. Qin Churu would definitely be one of the 2 spots. "Mom, the results are not out yet," Qin Churu said modestly, but she also thought that she had a chance to participate in the youth painting competition. Lin Shuya smiled and said, "If you can't participate, who else in H City has the ability to do so?" Qin Hai put down his chopsticks and said, "Rower, try to get a big prize this time. Dad will give you a reward." The Qin family all thought that Qin Churu would definitely be able to participate in the youth painting competition. They couldn't be blamed for thinking that way. Chiwencher was a nationally famous master painter. He only had 2 disciples, and one of them was Qin Churu. Chiwencher was very satisfied with Qin Churu. Every week, Qin Churu would bring her paintings to Chiwencher's home to receive pointers. Chiwencher was also very satisfied with the painting that was participating in the competition. He had once said that there was a 90% chance that Qin Churu could participate in the competition. The 3 of them were eating, and Qin Sheng had also returned from the Qin family. Seeing the 3 of them, she did not greet them and went upstairs. Lin Shuya was in a good mood today. She did not mock her nor did she greet them. She only treated Qin Sheng as heir. Qin Hai only said, "You're back." He did not care anymore. Half an hour after the 3 of them finished their dinner, it was time for the results of the H City selection competition. Qin Churu watched and felt a little nervous. Qin Churu sat on the sofa while Qin Hai and Lin Shuya sat on both sides of her. By 7 o'clock, the results had already been published. Qin Churu took a deep breath and opened the website. She looked down. Sheng? Seeing this name, Qin Churu's heart was a little flustered. There was another Wei Qing in H City. His paintings were very famous, and Qin Churu could not compare to him. Qin Churu thought that the 2 spots in H City would be hers and Wei Chang's. However, this Sheng appeared. Who were they? Why did they suddenly appear? Qin Churu's palms were covered in sweat. However, Qin Churu still felt lucky. Maybe Wei Qing did not participate in the competition. Lin Shuya frowned and muttered, "Sheng?" Qin Hai did not bother about who this Sheng was. He directly looked at the next name. The one in front was not Qin Churu's, the one below should be. Ni bi. However, the next second, Qin Hai frowned. There was no spot for Qin Churu. Qin Hai retracted his gaze. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Previously, he was certain that Qin Churu would be able to participate in the youth painting competition. Now that there was no spot for Qin Churu, Qin Hai's eyes were filled with disappointment for Qin Churu. Qin Churu's heart skipped a beat. She had a very bad premonition. Roar, you're not selected. Lin Shuya's voice sounded. Qin Churu quickly looked at the next name. Wei Cheng. It wasn't her, Qin Churu. Therefore, Qin Sheng and Wei Cheng were the ones who participated in the youth painting competition in H City. Without her, Qin Churu. Qin Churu's heart sank completely. Her face was pale. Her hands were tightly gripping her phone. There were protruding veins on the back of her hands. Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't know this would happen. Qin Churu's eyes were red. She couldn't figure it out. Where did this Sheng come from? Were they trying to steal her spot? Lin Shuya felt her heart ache when she saw Qin Churu crying. She quickly held her shoulder and comforted her. Roar, it doesn't matter if you don't have it. We don't want it. Worried that Qin Hai would criticize Qin Churu, she said to Qin Hai, Brother Hai, you know how good Roar is at painting. She even received Master Chi's praise. Master Chi also said that she could enter with this time's painting. It's not Roar's problem. Don't blame her. Qin Hai pinched the space between his brows. I won't criticize her. Qin Hai also knew that he shouldn't blame Qin Churu, but the gap was too big. He couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. He had also said in front of his friends that Qin Churu would participate in the youth painting competition. Telling them now that Qin Churu didn't have the qualifications to participate, wasn't that a slap to his face? Would he still be able to raise his head in front of his friends? Qin Hai was very fond of his face, and he was now complaining about Qin Churu in his heart. Lin Shuya frowned. Lin Shuya and Qin Hai had been husband and wife for more than 10 years. She knew Qin Hai very well, and she could roughly understand Qin Hai's thoughts. It would be fine if Qin Hai hid his thoughts, but if he dared to scold Qin Churu, she would not agree. Dad, Mom, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Tears fell from Qin Churu's eyes. She clenched her hands tightly. Lin Shuya's heart was completely focused on her. Qin Hai would only treat her well because he saw the benefits in her. She absolutely could not let Lin Shuya down. Lin Shuya was her biggest reliance in the Qin family. What are you thinking about? It's just a youth painting competition. If you don't want to participate, then don't participate. Lin Shuya comforted her. However, Qin Churu was still unwilling to accept it. Only year 3 students in high school could participate in this competition. Next year, she would not be able to participate. The youth painting competition was a very high-level drawing competition. Those who were in the top 3 would basically become famous in the future. If she went out with an award in the youth painting competition, others would be envious of her. Even her senior brother would not look down on her. Qin Churu hated this Sheng very much. Without her, there would definitely be a place for her, Qin Churu. At this moment, Qin Churu's phone rang. It was Chi Wencher calling. Dad, Mom, teacher is looking for me. Qin Churu did not dare to pick it up in the living room and went outside the villa. Churu, did you change it according to my request? Chi Wencher's voice came from the phone. Teacher, I didn't change it. You saw the photo I sent. Then why didn't you pass this time? Chi Wencher frowned. His student's painting should not be eliminated. I'm not sure either. Qin Churu's tone was very respectful. She asked again, Teacher, do you know who this Sheng is? They're ranked first and Wei Cheng is second. Are they really that powerful?